What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go.
One last topic, and then we'll get into everyone loves these predictions. Love college football, big season predictions. But has your perspective, runner-up Notre Dame, magical season, right? I mean, they lose to NIU. They win win 3 games. They beat Indiana, they beat Georgia, and they beat Penn State. Has your perspective on them changed in the fact where it's always been this notion of Notre Dame can't win the big one? Like, Notre Dame can't win the big one. They're independent now. I heard you and Coward talking about this maybe a couple months ago, but it almost feels like Notre Dame set up in this new era of college football that they have the biggest advantage. Marcus Freeman's a young coach. Obviously, the academics are great there. They recruit well. You can set your schedule. All the CFP money that they get throughout the entire playoff goes to them. Like, it just feels like for Notre Dame, CJ Carr, quarterback's going to be a big question mark. But this whole notion, like, could Notre Dame be, I mean, I don't know your perspective. You're a Cali guy. Maybe you hated Notre Dame growing up. But it feels like Notre Dame's kind of being more likable. And they're every year top 5 team, national champion team. Like, I think they're kind of another team to me that their schedule is harder this year. I mean, they got Miami, A&M, at Arkansas, Boise State. So I just think for me, like, I think they have the biggest advantage in college football where they're set. And now you see the SEC is going to schedule a 1 quality game a year. So they don't have to move. They don't have to move. And then there's no pressure for them to move. It just feels like this next 5-year window, maybe 10-year window, is like that next team that could win it.
Yeah, I think clearly he's an excellent coach / recruiter. He's like kind of what you want in the guy running your operation. You know, I think Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, Kirby, they are the best of both worlds. They can relate with the young guy so they can be an elite recruiter, but you can get them on a whiteboard and they can dominate. And that's what I would say Marcus Freeman. And there's just like an authenticity to him where it's just like, okay, I kind of see it. And you could see like he was a little uncomfortable when James Franklin like wouldn't shut up. Like, he doesn't want, there's not a lot of fluff to him. Like, Saban could BS a little bit more. Like, Chris Peterson's a good example. Like, Chris Peterson wasn't really into the BS stuff. You know, like Ed Ogeron was all BS. I don't mind my coach being serious, and clearly Notre Dame kind of got a David Shaw vibe to him. But David was an offensive guy. This guy's a defensive guy, so there's a toughness aspect to him. But I just think their talent, like Jeremiyah Love, what if he's the best running back in the country? So if you're the best running back in college, you're usually going for like, I'm close to 2,000 yards. You just handle the ball nonstop. And remember, we were talking about last year defensively, some of their young talent was like, damn, who's that guy? And it's like, oh, that's Bryant Young's kid. And so it's like, you're going to have guys on their roster because they're transfer portal. They probably operate a little bit differently, fair to say, than like Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan, right?
They're like Georgia where they'll plug and play. They only add like 8 guys. So they added like a couple receivers this year, like Virginia's receiver who had back-to-back 800-yard years. Like, he could be their receiver room could be more dynamic down the field versus before they were running offense. Jadarian Price, you know, their offensive line is going to be set. And they're a team too that I know Texas and Sarkisian talked about this too. With the amount of games you're playing, like, you've got to play probably
a lot of guys,
2 deep guys, especially on defense. And they were dealing with injuries last year, and you watch them play, you would not know watching Notre Dame last year that they dealt with their starting cornerback who got drafted to the Buccaneers was out for the majority of the season. They had a true freshman who's the best cornerback in the country step in. So it's like them and their ability to recruit and also play guys early. That's why they're able to keep all these guys around. Like, I think that's one thing too. They're so young, but they keep this retention throughout the couple of years. You're not losing guys. Notre Dame's obviously a powerhouse. Like, it just seems like to me, like, they just have such a big advantage.
The rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets, Saturdays just got way more fun. College football is back, baby. Think you know the game? Put your college football knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn your picks into big payouts. Live betting during the game, rivalry week odds boosts, and so much more. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. Here's the thing. There is no bigger game than Saturday morning. Texas, Ohio State. I understand Arch has never started a big game. Played a couple last year, but never anything like this. Ohio State lost a ton of guys to the draft. I think this Texas team, if Arch lives up to the hype, poised to win an Natty. I'm taking Texas. I know it's at the shoe. I know it's a tough environment. I just think, as Earl Woods used to tell Tiger Woods, let the legend grow. That's what I would tell Arch Manning. Go win this game, cover that spread, money line, let the legend grow. And here's something special for first timers, new customers. Bet just $5 and get 300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code John. That's code John for new customers to get 300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
To your point about all the former players, like Bettis' kid's there, Plaxico Burress' kid's a freshman. That makes me feel old. Like I kind of feel like you. It's like all these guys you watched your whole life in the NFL. Their sons are going. Larry Fitzgerald's kid's going to be there next year. Like I just think things are moving in a great direction at Notre Dame, and I think people are starting to this whole narrative. Like I keep mentioning, win the big one, and that they're the most hateable team in college football. They're becoming likable, and they got their own TV contract with NBC. It's like,
money's not going to be an issue. One thing with their, Riley last year, I remember that first game against Texas A&M. Like he just doesn't throw it very well, and throughout the whole season, like he's not a great thrower of the football. And just looking at his numbers, threw 21 touchdowns. He ran for 17, so basically he brought to the table 38 touchdowns. So I would imagine CJ Carr, in theory, better thrower of the football. But Riley Leonard and the character, the leadership, people love the guy. I was out on him early. And then as the season went on, he clearly got better, transfers. I think sometimes it's unfair the way we judge you. Same with Will Howard. By the end of the season, they were way more comfortable and way better. They're honestly kind of similar trajectories. Early on, you're like, what's going on here? And by the end, Will throws the ball, or did in college, way better than Riley. But by the end, Riley was a legitimate starter in college football. But he just brought so much to the table. I'm not comparing him to Tim Tebow. Tim's a better college player, but like running and passing, what Lincoln had forever with like Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts. That's a pretty, like 38 touchdowns, a lot from your quarterback. And like you said, the schedule's harder. I mean, they feel good about CJ Carr counting for that many scores.
And I think some of those touchdowns too are going to go towards Jeremiyah Love. I think Jeremiyah Love, I think he could have what Genty had at Boise State. I'm not saying like Love's going to have that at Notre Dame, but it feels like if he has some type of one of those like overhaul monster rushing seasons at a big program like Notre Dame, like he could be a Heisman guy. When we transition to like bets to look at, he's plus 2,800. Like that's another guy, a non-quarterback. Notre Dame is going to play a lot of big games. They're obviously going to hand him the ball off, and they have a second running back, so maybe that might hurt his carries and his stats compared to like some other running backs. But he's another guy to me that I think he's just going to have a breakout season. Like that dude's just phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, 28-1. I do. Do you expect Notre Dame to be in the playoffs this year?
I do. I think it's a two-game season, but I hate when people have that mentality because either they beat Miami, they beat A&M, and then the rest of the season maybe they get sniped by Arkansas. Or like luckily this year they don't play a MAC team, thank God, because a MAC team or a Marshall, like that's like Notre Dame's past, or like that's what they're really bad at. But I do expect them. They control their own destiny too. They're independent. You set your schedule. You don't have to worry about a whole conference. Like Oklahoma this year, like they have a really hard schedule. If they lose 3 games, how are they not in the playoff? You know what I mean? That's like they got dealt a bad hand, them in Florida versus like Missouri this year. Missouri has a really easy schedule again, but their team's just horrible. So,
to me, if Notre Dame's going to be good, which I think they're going to be, he's got to be an auto lock. Your best offensive player, he's going to put up huge numbers. Does it mean he's going to win the Heisman? No, but like going in, the quarterbacks around the country are kind of like a coin flip, right? You just don't know what you're going to get, or the team's going to be, LSU, Nussmeier. You could tell me he wins the Heisman. You could also tell me they win 8 games.